So this is my weekly report for AFO for October 19th. So let me give you a little caption what I did this week. Um, I just got finished up with the NorCal Sportsman Show, but anyway, I hit the water on Tuesday and I went after some stripers, but I couldn't find any. I was up in Liberty and there's none of them there right now. So we went bass fishing and we did really well, but we didn't have any big ones. 3 pounds was the biggest, but we caught a lot of bass. And we caught them on blades and on flipping rage craws and brush hogs. But other than that, I only went out once this week. I had a little incident over there at Hogback at the boat ramp. Somebody broke into my vehicle. So I'm off the water for the next couple of days until I get it repaired. Luckily someone scared them off, so they didn't really get anything. They just got a little couple knickknacks out of there. But anyway, some of the things that are going on, the albacore and the bluefin tuna has been pretty decent. They're going out of Bodega Bay, Fort Bragg. The closest now is Half Moon Bay. The bluefin are starting to show up. They're like 20 miles out, trolling the Mad Max, the 200s or the 240s. If you're going after albacore, the zookers have been some of the best, and the cedar plugs. And they're actually, when you get into school of the albacore, they've been catching a lot of small ones. The size of them are on the smaller side, so a lot of guys will go out there and hang the stuff out for bluefin. When you do that, you're totally using different equipment, different rods and reels, and even trolling at different speeds. Albacore, you're going to go about 7 knots, and bluefin, you're going to go about 15 knots. So you almost have to do one or the other. Other than that, other things going on, Rittenberg for the rockfish and lingcod has been off the hook still. They're catching a bunch of fish out there. They're in 350 to 400 feet of water. A lot of lingcod. Some of the guide boats are actually stopping and getting sand dabs first, but you don't have to. I've caught plenty of them out there on fish traps. I use a 7 or 8 inch swim bait on a 16 ounce jig head and drop it down there. If you take shrimp flies and put bait on it, drop it down there, you'll catch all the rockfish. They've been averaging anywhere from probably like 3 to 8 pounds on rockfish. The lingcod are running in that 10 to 25 pound range. So those going out there is going to be somewhere where you're going to bring a sack full of fish back. November, usually the first Saturday in November, Dungeness crab season's open, but we haven't heard anything yet about what the regulations are going to be. But I would probably believe that since they're seeing some whales out there, that you're going to have to use the nets, and no cages allowed yet. But until they announce it, we don't know. So you got to have both of them ready, for when it opens, if it opens. So other than that, halibut fishing still pretty decent inside San Francisco Bay. I'm sure you could get them out at Seal Rock, even maybe the North Bar. Live bait is your best bet. I did a video on it. You could go back and look at it, where you use I use like a 3-way or a dropper setup with a leader with the little treble hook in the back. But the halibut fishing is still pretty good. They're catching a lot of them in Alcatraz. They're getting good sized ones. But I think it's just been halibut fishing has been so good for the last 4 months. People already have a freezer full of it, or they're just getting tired of going after them. So other than that, the sturgeon fishing, as you know, Fish and Game and them had their meeting, and they haven't announced anything yet, but it will be announced pretty soon here, so that you know what the new regulations are going to be. And I'm sure when it comes up, everybody will hear, and you'll probably see it all over the internet also. So anyway, stripers, you could catch stripers in the bay. A friend of mine was over at Pacifica Beach and was using jerk baits and stuff and catching a lot of stripers on the beach. He said everybody there that was fishing for them were catching them. they were doing really well. So there's fish out on the beaches, they're out in the bay. I know Cal Don had a nice boat limits of stripers and halibuts last week. So there's a lot of them in the system, and they were averaging about 6 to 10 pounds. And other than that, the stripers, when they get in the bay real thick like this, they're about ready to make their move into the delta. Once they come in the delta, they'll stay in there all winter and make that their home. And that's when I usually start concentrating on them and going after them, like around Thanksgiving. You know, when we get that fall weather coming in, then, you know, the striper season down there just goes crazy. There is a lot of them there now. There has been, you know, most of them are from Rio Vista out to Martinez or Pittsburgh area. You could go out on any of them flats and you could throw round traps or Yozuris or any of those shallow running lures or casts and throw top water, which is the things I do. And I like to hit a lot of the flooded islands. But that's all coming up here real shortly, and it's just right around the corner because Thanksgiving is not very far away. So other than that, American River, the steelhead action, they're catching a lot of steelhead, and you know, you're gonna hook salmon. So I'm hearing a lot of guys hooking salmon. So technically, you know, if you're fishing for steelhead and you hook a salmon, you can bring them all the way in. If you want to take a picture, you're supposed to leave them in the water. You're not supposed to take them out and handle them. You know, it's not good for them. So you could reach down, lean over, take a picture of them, and then pop them off the hook. But technically, you're not supposed to lift them out of the water. There's a bunch of them there. I was down in the Delta bass fishing last week, and I was in one little spot, maybe about 100 yards stretch I was fishing, and I saw over 25 salmon roe. I saw a lot of them. They were kind of a little bit dark on the back, but that just told me that, you know, there's a lot of salmon in the system, and they're going up in an area where they don't know where they're going. They're lost. So, you know, there's a lot of them there. No matter where you are, you could be bass fishing, you could be striper fishing, you could be steelhead fishing. When you hook them salmon, you got to turn them loose and not take them out of the water. So other than that, landlocked kings have been kind of like slow. There's guys that are going after them. Like Kevin's been chasing them, and he hasn't been slaughtering them yet. I think I was at Berryessa last week crappie fishing, and the water seems to be like it's in the midst of turning over. So I talked to all these guides, like Big Nate's been killing the trout there, and he says, oh, all the bait fish is 30 to 40 feet. So I didn't talk to him for a week, and I head out there and I'm grafting around, and I'm seeing all the bait in 20 to 30 feet and sometimes 10 feet. So it's telling me that maybe the lake is turning, so they'll move up to the surface, and once the lake fully turns over, the bait fish will rise to the surface. All the fishing goes crazy because everything's going to come up with them. You know, it has a lot to do with time of the year, water conditions, water temperature, but it looks like it's starting to turn over. So I anticipate that king salmon by at Folsom Lake, Orville, and Berryessa this year, if they're correct, and next week it starts cooling off and we get that fall pattern, it looks like it should be a good year. You can look back at my videos if you want to. You could troll. I didn't do any videos on trolling, but I did them on mooching, and that is very effective. And when that lake turns over, it's fishing that's just unbelievable. Kokanee fishing is about over right now. I see Fishing Game was already up at Truckee, pulling the kokanee and stripping them of the eggs and sperm so they could have them for the hatchery. You could still catch them, and this time of the year, I even caught a lot of them in the past jigging for them with little Castmaster spoons, because you know, when they're typically a salmon, so when they get in that spawning mode, they'll actually get angry and mean, and they'll strike those spoons. So you could do that too, but you know, most of the fish, like I said, are going to be red, hook nose, and they don't look like they're too good at table fare, but I guess you could smoke them. So the bass bite in the Delta has been good for me, and I've been catching them on the other day on blades, and I also caught a lot flipping. I'll probably catch more flipping than doing anything. And I've been using a lot of rage carls lately and brush hogs. Those are my go-to. And one of the things I found, in the fall when I'm bass fishing up north is that I want to be in current. So when I'm flipping wood or flipping anywhere from 3 to 6, 8 feet of water, I'll be using an ounce, because that current goes so fast when I flip in, it just blows away. And a lot of the bites, you just feel a real slight tick, or you just see your line going faster than the current, and you know you need to set the hook. But that bite is starting to turn on. These are northern bass. I'd say when the water temperature gets below 60, then the fish get bigger. As the water gets colder, the fish get bigger. Right now, you're gonna catch a lot of 10-inch and up to like 12, 14-inch fish. And then once in a while, you get that 3 to 5 pounder. But when the water temperature right now is about 64 degrees, when it gets down to that 58, I know a lot of times I could pull up to a point and catch 5 fish and have 18 to 20 pounds on one point. So that's right around the corner. Crappie starting to bite. Actually, bass fishing in the lakes also good. Berryessa, Folsom, drop shotting, and throwing little Kitex has seemed to have been the #1 getters. But most of the lakes, I'm pretty sure you could actually go out and catch them. Fall for bass fishing in the lakes is one of the best times, and I've done a lot of videos. You can look back on when I went to Folsom last year. I went to Berryessa, and I actually bring nothing with me but spoons. I'll carry anywhere from 3/4 ounce to 2 ounce spoons, and I go locate the bait balls and drop the spoon down and jig them and catch them one after another. I mean, it's just absolutely the funnest kind of fishing you could ever do. So crappie, it's gonna start coming. Usually in the fall is when it really starts picking up. I also did a lot of videos on crappie, and my brother was down in the Delta, and he's been catching them. So they're catching more and more every week. So that bite's gonna be real good. 2 weeks ago I went to Berryessa and I didn't even find a crappie. So, and all of a sudden, as soon as that lake turns, I'm gonna go back because I know those fish will be very plentiful. Trout fishing, you think it'd be dying off a little bit, but Big Nate's still killing them at Berryessa and Comanche. And they've been getting some pretty good sized fish at Comanche. Berryessa has Eagle Lake strain trout in there, and pretty soon when that lake turns, I'll be up there trolling on the surface, trolling rapalas and shad raps about 2.5 miles an hour and 100 feet of line out behind the boat, and they just smash it, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. Mackinaw. I'm probably going to be doing a Mackinaw video here pretty soon. A friend of mine has been catching a lot of them, spooning in 40 to 60 feet in the lakes up here on Highway 50. And he asked me to go, so I'm going to take him up on it. So it's actually a lake that hardly anybody fishes, and he's been spooning a lot of Mackinaw. But you could catch Mackinaw anywhere. They have them all over these lakes. So other than that, I told you guys about Dungeness crabs, so hopefully they come out with some regulations here real quick. And then I want to tell you guys, we had the first annual NorCal Sportsman Show out in Roseville this last weekend for 2 days. It was a pretty good crowd. They had, everything from cars, trucks, boats, and guns and bullets and fishing tackle and you name it. They had everything out there. It was pretty successful. I actually had an AFO booth out there, and I want to thank all you supporters for coming out there and supporting me. I do have t-shirts like this and sweatshirts and hats that I'm selling to help support my channel and to pay for some of the costs, and I want to thank all you guys for coming out there and supporting me. I had Denise, Jennifer, Janet, my wife, my kids, my grandkids, everybody out there came out there to help me, and I just want to thank everybody for that. But we had a raffle out there, so if you purchase any of the clothing or anything, we gave you a raffle ticket, and you stick it in this little box. And then I had my youngest granddaughter draw a name, and from that name, you're gonna get a fishing trip with me and Denise, and it'll probably be down in the Delta, maybe stripers or something. And the winner is Leo Lopez. So Leo Lopez, you'll be expecting a call from me here probably in the next couple of days, and we'll set something up. And don't forget, on Saturday morning when you guys are heading down that highway at 6:40 in the morning, tune in to 1140 on the AM dial on California Sportsman's Radio. And I'm on that every Saturday. And the first week of Saturday, I'm usually in the studio. I'll give you the current up-to-date reports. And if you like this video, hit that like and please subscribe. And leave me a comment if you want, and I'll get back within a couple days. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.